Have you always wanted to get an audiophile music player or DAP or digital audio player and couldn't afford one? Well, it is time to check out the TempoTec V6 or V6 variations, a high quality digital music player made by a Chinese company that's not quite so known. In our Audiophile world, there are quite a few companies that make digital audio players or portables. We call those DAPs usually, it's just DAP. Pretty bland words to define such an awesome creation. This is basically a device where you store all of your music and you listen to that music using a headphone output, and you use wired headphones usually for the best quality, or wireless headphones if you are feeling lucky and courageous. I was planning to make a video about this because my girlfriend just broke her true wireless IEMs, and it wasn't her that broke them, but they broke. They simply cannot be fixed. They don't connect well over the wireless protocol anymore. But hey, this is the TempoTec V6. It has MQA decoding, it has DSD decoding, it has high resolution decoding, and it is one of my favorite music players in the entry-level price range and even in the mid-ranges. The plan is for it to be priced at $399 US, but it can be found at $299 US if you are willing to purchase it from Kickstarter. I'm not quite sure how they're going to handle the Kickstarter, it is their first, but I support the company. They didn't do any glaring mistakes so far, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It has one micro SD slot, so one micro SD card. It has no limit for the SD card, so I suppose up to 2 terabytes is going to be okay, but I tested it with up to 512 gigabytes and it works flawlessly. It has no buttons at the top. It has one volume wheel that you also press, which acts as the on-off button. On the right side, it has control buttons. It has one LED light right beneath the volume wheel, and at the bottom is where the magic happens. It has one Type-C input / output. It has balanced line out in 4.4 millimeters, single-headed line out in 3.5 millimeters, single-headed headphone output in 3.5 millimeters, and balanced headphone output in 4.4 millimeters. This is so crazy, it has basically everything. I'm pretty excited about it. I'll let you know that. It has a pretty natural menu. It is pretty much Android. It is a vanilla Android DAP. It has Hebe Music, on which it relies to deliver most of its performance. You have everything Hebe Music has, including MSEB, or Magic Sound Equalizer 8-ball. Basically, it allows you to equalize things easily and it works flawlessly. It is pretty smooth, nowhere near as smooth as my smartphone. I mean, just look at this, look at the way this works, just look. My smartphone is much more responsive to touch, while TempoTec V6 is okay, but a bit more sluggish. I mean, everything is supposed to work a bit more sluggish because the display has a refresh rate of 60 Hz instead of the 144 Hz that my smartphone has. So if you have a modern smartphone, it is not going to be quite as smooth, but it's smooth. It's still pretty smooth. It's not very laggy at all. You can browse your music based on the title, album, artist, or even folder browsing if you have a good folder hierarchy. It works quite well. Honestly, this is pretty much I can say about it. It works quite well. The display is not of a very good quality. It's not the most colorful of displays, but it can be quite bright. So at maximum brightness, it should be a bit washed out, which means that it is about as bright as my television in the back, which is at its maximum brightness. So good for outdoors usage, not very colorful. This is what you should keep in mind about the display. The back is made of glass, pretty beautiful. It has corners, but they are not very strong, and the one that sits the most in your hand, the one where the V6 marking is, doesn't eat into my hand too much. It doesn't cause me too much pain, but it is still a bit sharp. For me and for other reviewers at least, it was possible to have something written at the top. I don't know if this will be offered to customers, but I choose to have TempoTec V6 written on it so that you know better what it is. It's not like it's in the title of the video or anything. I already published the full written review on it about 2 days ago. This is when I decided to reinstall everything in Audiophile Heaven and rewrite the website. And just so you have some kind of idea about how long it takes me to edit a video. The sound quality of the V6 is where it was most certainly not expected to be this good. This is how I should put it. I was expecting it to be okay, a good mid-range player. I'm going to just make the review and be done with it. But it's actually quite good. It is surprisingly good. It outdid my expectations, I'll be honest with you. It's better than I was expecting it to be. First off, it has a much deeper, a much smoother, and a much more dynamic sound than I was expecting. It has outstanding dynamics and detail. It has superb resolution. It is so resolute. It is surprising. It is considerably above the FIO M11 Pro, if I have to give you some kind of example. FIO M11 Pro sounds digital, it sounds glary and it lacks detail compared to the TempoTec V6, which sounds detailed, sounds clean, sounds natural, sounds deep. It has such an outstanding sound. Then there is the soundstage. It is quite wide and has superb instrument separation. It is able to define multiple layers of guitars. It is able to play everything so well, regardless whether it is a very crowded piece, for example, very complex orchestral or classical music. It plays everything with ease. Everything just sounds natural when it's played by the TempoTec V6. At this price point, I can't see any kind of drawback for it. For example, it is pretty much, to my ears, what FIO X5 series were when they started. So the FIO X5, the first generation, and FIO X5 Mark II. Both of them were superb music players. I loved both of them. They gave me a ton of enjoyment, and FIO was an awesome company back then. Basically, when they launched the FIO X5 Mark III, everything went downhill because the quality was much worse sonically. It lacked the detail and resolution that the originals had. Well, this pretty much sounds like a FIO X5. It has a similar signature, but it is more clear and better defined than it. I used to have a FIO X5 a few years ago. I rocked it for quite a while, and I was able to compare them side by side because I know someone who still rocks one. And yeah, it is better than FIO X5 if you have one, and if you are looking to upgrade, it is better than FIO M11 Pro. It has such an outstanding signature actually, and it has Play Store access, so you can install basically any app from the Play Store on it. You are not locked to regional apps. You don't have to use dubious APK files. Everything just works perfectly. You don't have to struggle using the TempoTec V6. Everything just works, and that is the beautiful part. But when you listen to it, it has about enough power to drive HiFiMan HA1000 version 2. I mean, I listened to them and I enjoyed the sound. I told to myself, wow, this sounds beautiful. This is really awesome. And guess what? I had it at maximum volume and it is able to keep its cool at maximum volume. So it is able to have superb driving power, but also superb control. It doesn't become shouty and it doesn't sound overdriven. Everything just sounds perfect at maximum volume. And this means that it is well designed. The entire analogic part is quite well designed, which is surprising because you don't really hear about TempoTec. Like, who's TempoTec? Have you heard about TempoTec? Do you know them? I mean, this is clearly a video about it, but what do you know about that company? It made a few dongles and it made one DAP in the past, the V1A variations, which I liked and most reviewers liked, but it didn't become quite that popular because it was a miniature thing. This is a very serious DAP. I mean, it could easily redefine what we are expecting at this price point. It is better than Shannon M3X, for example, which I also have and also reviewed already. It is surprisingly good. If you can, please give it a listen. If you have the opportunity to, let's say one of your friends ordered one, just ask him or her to give you this thing for a listen. You are going to be surprised. You may end up replacing your old FIO DAP with this. Of course, there are still better DAPs in the world, don't worry. It is not the king of the DAPs, but in this price range, like if you can get it for $300 US or $400 US, it is surprisingly good. I already made a full written review. If you want to check that out, I will leave a link in the video description, hopefully, if I don't forget by the time I post it. Also, I will leave links to purchase this from Amazon. By the time I'm posting the video, I'm pretty sure the Kickstarter company won't be running anymore and you will be able to purchase this from Amazon. I thank you so much for watching. If you want to make me happy and if you want to brighten my day, you could subscribe to Audiophile Heaven. New subscribers are always something that make me happy. Also, leave a like on this video if you like the content so you can help me reach more people by boosting my algorithms and the YouTube search algorithms. I thank you so much for watching. I really mean it. I thank you so much for watching. To me, it's really important that you are watching those videos. I hope you'll check out my other videos too, and I hope you have a lovely weekend there. Hope to see you really soon. Bye bye.